Welcome to Health Oddity, the show that strips away the jargon and hype surrounding all things health and fitness to help you live a long, strong and energetic life. Lining up at the bar this week, here's Peter Lant and James St. Pierre.
Hello and welcome to the Health Oddity podcast, episode 259. Now, if you are listening on the day of release, like I know many of you do, it is the 15th of August today. So we are going to be discussing some stuff today that I think will be dated by the time you listen to this, but don't worry, because we've got stuff to talk about, upcoming competitions and things that are upcoming as we record. But when you listen to this, they will have happened. But that won't destroy your enjoyment, I'm sure, of speaking to this very special guest that we have on today. I'm just going to touch base with Mr. Peter Lant, who's in Bath down in Somerset, and see how he's doing. How are you, Pete?
I'm very well. I'm wearing exactly the same clothes as I was wearing last week's podcast.
Last week. Okay. Okay, cool. Excellent. And we are joined today, and I was just saying, I think that this is episode 259, so nearly 5 years of releasing a podcast every single Friday. I think this is the first guest we've ever had from Suffolk. So Woodbridge in Suffolk. We are joined today by Andrea Thompson. How are you doing, Andrea?
I'm very good, thank you. And it's nice to know that I'm the first from Suffolk, so yay.
First from Suffolk, and Suffolk is next door to Essex, because I'm only in Essex. I'm in Chelmsford in Essex, and Pete is down in Somerset in the southwest of England. Now, Andrea is the 2018 World's Strongest Woman, 4 times Britain's Strongest Woman, I think from 2016 to 2019. World's Strongest Woman Masters 2023, 40 plus. Do you still hold the world log record at 140 kilos, Andrea?
I don't know. It got beaten. I think it's now like 144, or unofficially. I'm just going to throw that in there.
Is it like it's like the Eddie and Thor, the unofficial deadlift? Is it
Yeah, it was kind of done at an amateur show, and there was no like rules and regulations. Mine was done by Sejanus. It was measured. Everything was,
yeah.
You can't get the goat. You can't get better than the goat who's refereeing you. So
yeah, calibrated plates and everything. And
that's it. Yeah, it was all that. Yeah,
exactly. Okay,
but we won't dwell on it.
Excellent. And I first met Andrea. I've been aware, obviously, of Andrea for many years, but met a couple of weeks back in Ipswich, where Andrea was sort of doing some refereeing and some kind of like comparing and stuff for the Ipswich Strongest show, which was down on the quay in Ipswich a few weeks ago. And very kindly, Andrea's given us her time today to be on the podcast. So I suppose, first of all, Andrea, do you want to tell us a little bit about, because you are one of the originals. We've had Donna Moore on the podcast before as well. We've had Lucy, Rebecca, Chloe, but you've been involved in sort of Strongwoman for many years at a high, well, the highest level possible, winning the World's Strongest Woman. Can you tell us a little bit about kind of like your training background and maybe how you got involved in Strongwoman to begin with, if that's okay?
Yeah, basically, I'm about a year behind Donna, actually. I think she'd been in there for almost a year before I'd stepped onto the scene. And I was doing CrossFit at the time, but CrossFit involves running around, and I don't like running around very much, but it also involves weightlifting quite a bit. And it was just the coaches, after about a year of me being in CrossFit, just for a bit of weight loss. My children were quite young, trying to get back into fitness, that sort of stuff. And they were like, Andrew, we know you hate running around the block. Why don't you try some sort of strength sport? And I'd never heard of Strongwoman at the time. I'd never really watched it on TV. I'd heard about it, the men's side of it. Didn't know that the women were involved at all at that time. So I just did some Googling, really, and found Britain's Strongest Woman. Found a coach in Ipswich that had a couple of girls that were preparing for it as well. I went to him and I was like, I've entered this competition. I know I can do the deadlift. I've never touched a yoke, never touched a log. what can we do? He's like, well, we've got 6 weeks to get ready. And I was like, well, we better get started then. And then 6 weeks later, I came third in Britain. So the rest of it just kind of snowballed.
It's funny you mentioned the running, because last week we had a guy on from Australia who was like an ultra runner, and he was sort of saying that he does these. He holds the world record for running 100 miles wearing a 10-kilo weight vest in like 23 hours. And then I said to him, I said, well, next week we've got Andrea coming on, and you couldn't get more different, you know,
The
like
contrast,
a kind of
yeah.
100-mile ultra runner to like a world's strongest woman, you know. But yeah, so you took to strength quite quickly then. Obviously you were, you know, you had a natural kind of leaning towards strength. And did you have a background in any kind of sport or anything when you were younger, whereby you know it was kind of you knew from kind of an earlier age that you were strong and things?
No, I mean, I did enjoy javelin and shot put at school. I was sort of in the school teams, that sort of stuff. But it was never. I just did it because I was always been a big girl, so I couldn't do the high jump. I just fall into the mat. I can sprint. I'm actually quite a good sprinter, but I can't like anything past 100 meters, and I'm done. So I've got that fast kind of movement. I don't have the long distance in me. But it was never really encouraged to go anywhere. It was just, you know, at sports day, everyone I had to do something for sports day, and they were the areas that I was good at. And that's kind of it, really. And then after school, life just lifed, and you know, I fitted in and out of the gym. I was one of those people that had a gym membership and never went. I might have gone and used the treadmill because I didn't really know what I was doing in the gym. And it just so not really. In the short answer, no. I did a little bit at school. Rounders was really good. I used to love throwing and catching and that sort of stuff. So not anything that was, you know, strength based. I would say I was just good at throwing things.
So you explosive, yeah. Because I remember actually before we came on, sort of like I came home from the gym, a gym in Chelsea. Came home and I rewatched. Just so I was making some notes, and I rewatched the A Strong Woman documentary that is on the Giants Live YouTube. And I think there's a scene very early where it kind of says that you maybe you know you broke the school record on like your second throw of like a shot put or a javelin or whatever it was. So like you say, you've got that because I know that Lucy Underdown used to be a thrower as well, didn't she?
Yeah.
Was
I think it's discus or something, wasn't it?
Yeah,
discus,
I think
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, discus and shot maybe, but she was a good thrower. So like you say, you've got that fast twitch, that power. And then I mean, for you to so you went to the first Brits, and obviously we got to say that was that 2016 when you did the first one. So that's 9 years ago.
Yes, I think so. I've been maybe was it a bit before then actually?
Oh, okay.
Because I know.
Oh no, sorry. 2016 was the first one you won. Sorry. 2016 was.
Yes, yeah. So it was at 15 maybe.
Yeah.
I know that before then I'd had like my coach was like, I've never done any kind of competition really stuff. So he encouraged me to do like a local show. So I actually did Hertfordshire Strongest before then, and I won like quite embarrassing.
You won every event, didn't you? I think.
I did, yeah.
Like yeah.
It was. I mean, because I'd never done anything like that, so I felt embarrassed to win everything and to do so well. And I actually got told I was showing off. I was like, I'm not. I'm literally just. This is my first time of even touching these things. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm here. You're blowing the whistle. I'm going. You're blowing the whistle, and I've stopped. And it just so happened that I was better than everybody else. So that was my first competition experience. Was just Hertfordshire Strongest. And then I went on to do Britain's. So I needed, it was a good call, to be honest, because if I'd have gone straight to Britain's, I would have caved seeing Donna and Jen Tibenham and Julie Ryder. And I was still like a tiny CrossFitter as well back then. And seeing these ladies, and I'm only 5'5". So I'm very short compared to some of the like 5'10". And they're nearly 6 foot tall. So they're very imposing ladies that I was seeing at Britain's for the first time. So I think it was a good call for me to do a local show.
Yeah.
Just so I was in that kind of mindset. But
and how was Britain's back then? Because I know that you've got the Britain's coming up on the 19th of July. this year, and it's at the York Barbican, and it's kind of Giants Live, and it's going to be live streamed and all the rest of it. But back then, sort of 10 years ago, was it very, very different for for Strongwoman back then?
100%. We were in I mean, it was great, but we've all got to start somewhere. We were in a gym. There were, I think, 2 or 3 different weight categories. I was in back then it was the heavyweights, which I hated. I hated being called a heavyweight athlete. So it's since changed to an open weight now.
Yeah.
It was just in a gym. I remember the sandbag was wrapped in tape and brown tape. The logs, like I said, I've never touched a log. And yoke was rickety, and it was literally just you got all the gym equipment on one side. There was the run in the middle, and then you got all the spectators sort of sitting in between the rigs on the other side. And that was it. It was just like a family kind of day, really, just family and friends spectating. I had my mum and my ex-husband at the time, all were there just to see what the hell I was doing, because no one really knew what it was.
Yeah. And I mean, so like I say, with just, like you say, maybe Donna started a year before you, but both you and Donna, been around since kind of not the start of Strongwoman, but certainly, you've seen it change massively over the last decade. When did it start to become more as we know it now? When was it that Giants Live maybe took it on, and you started being in these kind of, I think when we spoke to maybe Lucy and things, she might, and Rebecca maybe said that, like, it used to be a bit of a sideshow. It would be the men's strongman, and then the women was kind of just a bit of a sideshow on the side, and it wasn't really kind of a standalone. Whereas now it's obviously changed a lot more now. But how did you see that change, or when did that start to change?
So I've been doing the Arnold for quite a while before Lucy and Rebecca. So it was kind of there that it started. They started live streaming it. It was,
and
like,
would that be out in America? That would be out in Columbus.
America.
Yeah.
Columbus, America. It's always in the beginning of March. So they started. The lady that was promoting it, she was in the Strongman Corporation. Dion Master. She was like the foundation for getting the women up onto the pro stage. So it was actually before Giants Live took on the women, and for the teams games. That's when it became big in Britain. So she took it on, and she got in touch with Rogue. She made, like, lots of noise and stamped her feet and made sure that we had some sort of equal, or at least an equivalent of stage out in America. So, and then it started to be live streamed, and then it started to come over, and obviously Giants Live were just like, what's happening with the women. They've always got an idea of what's going on, because the official strongman games, they're all kind of incorporated. But we kind of spoke to Darren, we're like hinting to Lars, and we're all hinting to our coaches who has some sort of influence, to be able to talk to Darren and what's his name? Bryce Collin.
Yeah.
He's going to shoot me for forgetting his name now.
That's all right. No worries.
I don't know if he'll be listening, so don't worry.
It was then that they decided to do the teams game. So I think they were aware that the men were such a big part, and that the women were just a sideshow. And he just literally put his money where his mouth is. He's like, okay, I want to see where this is going to go. So it was Darren and the team that said, right, we'll get the guys and the girls together, rather than doing men first, then women, then men, then women, because what we were finding was that the audience would disappear when the women were on, and they would come back in when the men were back on. So they would have to sit and watch us all if they wanted to see the men. So, like, the relay style, that you couldn't go anywhere. If you went anywhere, you'd miss everybody. And that, for him and for us, was a turning point, especially for the British scene, to make the show as big as it is now. We now have our own standalone show. We have all the things that the guys have. We have the smoke, we have the fireworks, the names and lights, and we get the same treatment. With the prize money, is still not as good as the men, but again, we're just happy that we've got this massive leap, and we're now in people's faces that we weren't before. So,
because have they only done that teams one once? Because I don't know if they've done that. Did they do it twice?
We've done it twice. Yeah, we've done it twice. And I think it was more of a concept idea the first time. It's just like, do you know what, this is like a new thing. No one's done this before. Get all the big names from America and from Britain, male and female, get them all together. It was a sellout show. It was fantastic. Like I was really emotional. There's a picture of actually Madonna and myself just standing there hugging and just looking at the crowd. And she's like, look what we've achieved. And I get goosebumps now. And I was like, I know, and it's going to make me cry. So just to have that, for us to get to be able to stand on that stage with the other ladies that we've either inspired or helped along the way, we've trained them, we've coached them, spoken to them at some point in their journey, to have them share that stage with us. And then hopefully what we're now seeing is they're now starting to take over, which mentally is a little bit hard, but physically it's going to happen at some point because I'm getting tired.
But now you're competing. I know you're competing obviously in the Opens at the Brits and stuff like that. But when you won the Worlds in the Masters, like in 23, where did you go to compete there? Where was that one held?
That was Florida, Daytona, Florida.
Yeah. So is that part of OSG? Is that?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I did the Masters because I'd actually bust my bicep earlier on in the year.
Okay.
I tore my bicep and had to have surgery. So I wanted to compete, but I knew that I wasn't fully like 100% to compete in the open weight category because it's a heavy show, and I just wanted to do something like for myself. I needed to get back in and do a big show, but I knew I couldn't. I wanted to do well. I knew I couldn't do well in the open weight category. So for me to do the Masters category, some people called it a bit of a cop out, but you know, I'm not there for anybody else's kind of happiness or whatever. I'm just there for me as an athlete. I needed to do that.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you're over 40, if you're in that age category and you can compete there, it's you know, we had Terry Hollands on a few weeks back, and I think he went and won like a World's Masters like when he was over 40, when he kind of retired, I suppose, from the Open stuff. And I think, that's what it's there for, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's like, it's a bit cheeky because it's almost like when you turned up at your first ever comp and you dominated, and people were a bit like, "Oh, this is a bit, you're showing off. This isn't fair." You know, well, it's like, well, you're there. It was the first time. You didn't know what the level of competition was going to be like, did you? So, you know, you just go and do your best, and whoever's there is there, aren't they? So
that's it. And you can't tell who's going to be there. You can't judge what's going to happen on the day because you could have a really terrible day. Even if you're the best athlete, you could have a terrible day. You know, you just can't predict what happens. So
yeah. And have you been? Are you coached by Loz at the moment? Are you still coached by? Yeah.
Still with Lauren Charlet. Yeah, with really good friends.
Yeah. How long's that been? How long have you been coached by him for?
I think since 2020. I think actually after I came third at Worlds, I won 2018, third at 2019, 2020. We kind of started chatting and then COVID hit. So we were just like working behind the scenes. So it's over 5 years now.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out what Loz's schedule must look like because he pretty much coaches everybody, doesn't he?
He does. Like honestly, he's a really, really good. He's really attentive, and he does have a lot of clients on his books. But he's so attentive. Like he's never off his phone. If you're there, like I'm going to sit in his house and have dinner with his family, he's never off his phone. He's always on the phone to someone. But that's just their dynamic. That's his work. That's his job. So he is very attentive, and it's how he treats me is exactly the way that he treats the rest of them. You know, I get no preferential treatment. I get bullied quite a bit because I can be a bit of a diva sometimes, but he's very honest. You know, he'll never blow smoke up my ass. He'll never tell me things that are untrue, that makes me believe something that it's not going to happen. He's very, very honest with coaching, training, and life. We share a lot of life experiences as well. So I think it's a really good relationship that we have.
Yeah, because
that's what's brilliant about him, I think, though, because I mean I don't know that much about him coaching wise, but David's Sitting Bull, he coaches him, doesn't he? And because they live in the same town, and the fire, what was the firefighter's name?
Andrew Burton as well.
Andrew Burton, he coaches him, and he's out he's in Texas and all that. Like honestly, it's just so far and wide, and that's what I love about this stuff is like people you know, because it's getting bigger, you know, especially the men's now, and then the women's is coming through as well and everything. But like, people are just willing to share. They're just like, let's make it bigger, let's make it bigger, and I love that. So he's willing to take all of his experience and being able to coach all those different. Like, I mean, you know, obviously David's an adaptive athlete and all of that, and he's able to adapt it all for everybody. I think that's amazing.
And Loz has been there. Loz has been there, done it. He's got every t-shirt and every medal going. So he knows the risks, he knows the rewards, he knows what not to do, knows how to do things, knows how to get around things. So I think having such an experienced coach is magical to me, really.
And then I mentioned that I watched the documentary again, a Strong Woman, which I'd really recommend everyone at home just go onto YouTube and just type in a Strong Woman or Giants Life. We'll put the link in, yeah. And that obviously focuses on Lucy Underdown, Chloe Brennan, and yourself, Andrea. And how did that come about? How did that documentary kind of happen? You know, how did you get involved in it? Because I think that came out maybe about 6 months ago. I'm trying to, because I watched it when it first came out. I think it was maybe 6 months ago, around that time it came out for the first time. But was that a long process of making it, or was it just shot? I know it was shot at the Brits last year, some of it, I think. Yeah.
So we were recording in June last year, and I think it came out around August, maybe.
Okay.
About August time. So Tim Latter, who owns Grindhouse Gym in Burton-on-Trent, he is friends with Will, who actually goes to his gym. Now, Will does something, I think he's like a dog whisperer or something like that, but he also is got his hand in film. And so Tim is an ex-veteran, suffers a lot with mental health issues, has just been diagnosed at about 46 with ADHD, so after many, many years. And so they were just talking and did a documentary with Theo, who was like the director. I think Will has done some other sort of short films before. So that was quite a good success online. And then they were like trying to get their heads together. We want to do another documentary. We love what you believe in, and like with the business that he's built around like kids and strongman. Who would you suggest we get involved? And he immediately said, Andrea. Me and Tim are really good friends. We go back for a long time. And then I think because of the dog situation, because Lucy and Chloe both have dogs, so it all came a little bit of a mishmash of just everyone knows somebody about something. And so we were approached just to see, we want to do a documentary. This is not about your average documentary, because we get asked the same questions all the time. And so they came to film. They did Chloe first. They did 2 solid days of filming with Chloe, and then they came and did 2 solid days with me and my children, which one of them, you'll actually only see one of them on the video most of the time, because the eldest was just like, I am sick of the camera crew, I don't want anyone asking me questions. Proper teenage. I was just like, oh God, I'm so embarrassed. And then Lucy, the same, 2 days with her, and then the third day we all trained together in a gym in London. We all met up in London, so there's a camera crew went down there, did a little really cool effects of like the dusty, moody sort of scenes, and then they came to do the last bits for Brit. So it's a bit like a preparation journey, but going deep. Like we went deep, and I sat and I cried so much. I was like, I've never been asked these questions before. I feel like this is an actual therapy session. What was it like growing up, and who was in your household? How were you as a child? How would you look back? Would you look back now and say to your younger child? And what would you say to your adult self when you were a child? And all those things that no one ever asks you, and you just think, oh. So it was, some of it was quite difficult to speak about, because, like I say, it was really personal, really, really personal. But I think what the whole documentary brings is that we've all come from different backgrounds. We've all overcome different situations in our life. We've all discovered a sport that's kind of brought us together, and it's made us physically and mentally stronger. And we're into this, really big community that seems to have brought a lot of like-minded people. We're all a little bit screwed in the head, we've discovered. There's something wrong with everybody in our sport. So we've kind of all, lots of mishaps come together.
I think that's the thing, though, that was so good about it. And it's like you say, people, because they probably were with you for 2 days, it wasn't like right, we've got half an hour, we've just got to get the, you know, it was like they could really, like you say, go deep. And I think that lots of people I know from my gym have watched it. And like I say, it's only 21 minutes or something. So it's really, it's a quick sort of watch, but it's so powerful. And also it really does, like you say, it goes far deeper than most of these kind of documentaries because, you know, all three of you get upset while you're, you know, in the filming of it, talking about things. And I think what's so powerful, we had Ben Glasscock on a few weeks ago, and he's going to be competing at the Royal Albert Hall on Saturday, and he talked about getting a sports psychologist and things to help him from a kind of performance perspective. And we sort of said at the time that certainly people look at people like you, for example, and think you're strong and you're so strong and you're, you know, you're confident and you're, you know, you're able and you're solid. And but what was so nice was actually seeing the people behind the, you know, the real, you're just a normal, you're just a normal woman as well, aren't you? Do you know what I mean? You know,
Yeah. I'm a stressed out mum. I work part time. I'm one of these mums that's standing at the front door screaming at the kids to get in the car. You know, I'm constantly in the supermarket shopping. I am cutting the grass. I'm cleaning the house. You know, I'm at the gym. It's only when I'm at the gym that I do turn into a different person. Like I think Lucy mentioned that you know, we have different variations of our personality. But yeah, we are just normal people. We just discovered something that we're really good at, and it's been mainstreamed. It's just kind of exploded, and people know about it. So
yeah, because I know Lucy sort
yeah,
of says she's got sort of police officer Lucy, strongwoman Lucy, and then kind of real life Lucy, you know, and it's
yeah.
kind of, and everyone wears different hats for different things, don't they? It was so, yeah, yours kind of especially, I think, will not yours especially, but I think your story of being, you know, being a mum and you know, the way you felt after you had the children, and what you went through, you know, sort of personally and emotionally, and you know, you talk very, very openly and very, very candidly and honestly about that. And my wife watched it, and she, yeah, I think people relate to your story, you know, and because most women don't ever sort of say, I'm sure most women feel how you have felt, you know, overwhelmed and I'm just a mum now, you know, I've lost my identity of myself, you know. But very few kind of maybe will say it, or maybe they will say it to other people. I'm not sure really, but
It's almost like it's. I mean, I had a lot of response from women saying the
yeah.
same thing. Like I've never been able to say this, not even to my husband. I've not been able to talk to him about this. You've literally spoken my thoughts out loud, and it's almost like we should be grateful for having children. We shouldn't speak badly about having children. And I love my children. I've always loved them. But I did find it difficult having children and going from Andrea to mum. Like nobody called me Andrea for a long time. It was only until I started competing that my name was being announced over a microphone, and now it's in, you know, it's on billboards and stuff. But it was mum. The doctors called me mum. Ex-husband called me mum. The kids called me mum. How's your mum? How's this? And I'm just like, waving. I'm still here. It was really tough. It really was tough. And I think having the question, I think it was the flow of the conversation. I don't think I may have outwardly said that to just anybody. But
Yeah,
I
you
think it was
might
the
not have
flow
kind
of,
of volunteered that information
yeah, no,
if it hadn't been kind of
no.
almost dragged out of you a little bit and the right question.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I swear they should have a different job as being psychotherapists, because they're not just in film. They, you know, they're really good at talking and asking the questions. So yeah, it was just one of those things that just it came out, and I actually felt really overwhelmed with the whole filming situation. I think with the amount of talking that I did, and getting so much off my chest that I just didn't know I needed to get off. I was exhausted. I was actually exhausted after that day. Just like, you know, like verbal dumping on people that you just didn't know you needed to do.
And especially if you've been crying as well, you know what I mean? That kind of emotional, you know, like you say, because you've been holding on to a lot of that inside without really knowing it was there. And that emotional, you know, like you say, dumping of it it's yeah, it probably left you very cathartic and then left you very tired afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt great though. A lot has changed in that time as well. And my whole outlook on life has changed completely. My father died last April, so that again, I was still quite raw in the time of the filming coming in. So in that last year, this last year especially, my whole mindset has changed. Like I've got this a little bit more of a free attitude now, rather than worrying about so much stuff. I think that's recording of the documentary and the feedback from it, losing my dad, going through a divorce, remortgaging my house, making sure everyone's got a house to live in. It's just changed the way I look about life now. So.
And do you think having the children getting a bit older as well now, you're getting more independence back as well? You're not just mum now. Obviously, you're not just mum now, but they're getting older, aren't they, as well now? Maybe a bit more independent and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. There's 16 and 14 now, so I can leave them. I can go to the gym for a couple of hours and not worry about anything. They go to the dads a lot as well, so I can go off to America and for 5 days and not stress so much about it. They're not so attached to me. They have their own lives now. So it almost it's given me that freedom back. And I am living life. I've got a new partner now, and I'm holidaying more than I have done in my whole entire life. I'm traveling up and down the country, and the kids will do. Sometimes they want to do stuff with me, sometimes they don't, but they're teenagers, and I think that's just that's the era that I've got to deal with right now. Sometimes they love me, sometimes they hate me. So
excellent. And what have you got coming up? Because obviously I mentioned this is going out on the 15th of August, but we're recording previous. But you've got obviously the Britain's Strongest Woman on the 19th of July. That's up in the Barbican in York. That's only a couple of weeks away from where we're recording.
2 weeks time.
Yeah, how's prep for that? How are you feeling for that?
Prep is prepping. It's kind of, I'm hitting everything that I should do, apart from the sandbag. Me and sandbags are never going to get on. Sandbags and stones are my nemesis. Everything else is absolutely fine. Like, I'm hitting numbers. I'm happy with what I'm doing there. With Brits, I wasn't actually going to do it. To be honest, I've got my eyes set on Rogue Invitational at the end of October. I'm still waiting to receive my invitation though.
And that's up in Scotland, isn't it? Again,
that's in Scotland and Aberdeen. So they've given out the first 5 invites. I'm number 6 on the list. It's just so frustrating. So I'm still waiting. So I'm in my calendar to do that. So I might get an invite, I might not. So I wasn't going to do Brits just because I wanted to be fully fit for end of October. I'm a lot older now. Recovery and training takes a little bit longer. So just wanted to make sure that I was like 100% for that. But we're doing Brits because I actually do enjoy doing the Giants live shows anyway. And then so hopefully at the end of October, we've got the Rogue Invitational in Aberdeen. And at the end of November, I'm off to Singapore for the Extinct Games.
Wow. What's it called in Singapore, sorry?
The Extinct Games.
The Extinct Games. Okay.
Yeah.
What's that? I've not heard of that.
They came about last year, and I was invited last year, but because it was a new competition, I was like a little bit hesitant. A lot of things happen and they don't follow through. So it happened last year, and I know Emma Jane went from Scotland, and it was a really, really successful competition, and they've broadened their sort of resources and stuff. So they've got like a lot ADM, the live streaming people, more sponsors, and a lot more people coming from global areas. So I was asked a few months ago to go, but they kind of kept me quiet until everyone confirmed their places, and then they've just announced me yesterday, I think it was.
Oh wow,
so that'll be fun. That's Singapore.
So that is a strong woman comp.
It's a strongman shows. It's men, women's open. I think there's only one category for women, so women's open, and I think there's like two to 3 categories for the men.
In Singapore. So have you been to Singapore before, or?
I have not. I'm so excited.
Oh God, it's amazing, isn't it? That when we had Terry on, he was saying about how, obviously the world's strongest man now seems to it's just in America really, and they just move different places. But when he was competing, it was when I used to like watching it on TV, where every year it was in a different country, and they'd be on the beach.
They would dress up, wouldn't they? They would dress up in the attire that
so it was really like you'd see all these different cultures, and they'd have them, they'd be on the beach, or they'd be in the middle of a city, and they'd do all the events on location, and he said that he got to travel a lot, going to different countries. So it's brilliant that you're that you've got those opportunities to to travel to different places, and because this the second year in a row that Rogue's done in Aberdeen, is it? I think this year will be.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think somebody said they've got like a 5-year contract. So
Oh.
it just so happens that when they involved the women, it moved from Texas to Aberdeen. I was like, well, would have been nice, but
Yeah, because Pete and I are both up to Aberdeen at the start of August to go up to
I was going to say not in October. We're going in August.
to the Donald Dinny Day, the gathering up there.
oh yeah,
Yes, we're going up to that because we've had Stevie Shanks on the podcast and a few of the stone lifting guys from Scotland and stuff. So yeah, we're going to go up and have a watch of that. Okay, so they're the two. Are they the two kind of? Oh well, no, three main shows. Then you've just said, because you've said you've got the Brits, you've got the Rogue Invitational, and then you've got the Extinct Games as well. All year still. Yeah. So okay.
I've gone from only wanting to compete twice this year to competing 4 times. It happens every year. Every time I'm just like, no, I'm not doing it. Okay. Actually, I tried to retire. There's one time I tried to retire a few years ago, and I got contacted by the Australian people, and they're like, we want you to come to Australia. And Jen was like, I'm trying to retire, that you can retire after you get back. But by that time, I'd been to Australia. I got back 2 weeks later. I was in Milan for 4 days, and then a week after that, I was in America. So every time I say I'm not going to do something, I'm just going to stop saying it. I think because
it's Michael Corleone, isn't it, in Godfather 3? Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. They went like even Loz when after I did my first 300 kilos at Rogue last year. I said to him, I think I'm going to kind of start cooling down. He's like, you've just pulled 300 kilos. You're not retiring yet. I was like,
That was amazing. I remember I was watching that on. I
was so happy.
It was a reel on Instagram or something, and it was you going against. It was you and Lucy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was brilliant.
Yeah. When was that? Last year when you did that, what month was that in? Would that have been October or something?
I think it was November, wasn't it? October, November time.
So I think it was after, because I was over in Iceland for the Magnus Classic, and Loz was over there, and I think it was after. I think you had done that before he was there, because he was talking about you, I think, as well, saying about the three, because so I mean that we got to mention that, I mean, because 300 kilo deadlift, obviously Lucy was the first woman to pull 300, but then now there's still only like, is there about 3 or 4 of you who've done it? There's not many.
No, Claire Myler and Summer Johnson, I think they both got 300 kilos at a show.
Yeah.
So I think myself and Lucy.
Yes, it was less than 5.
The only ones that have done it raw. With the only ones that have done it raw as well. The other 2 have worn suits. Just to throw that in there.
Yeah.
You're showing off again.
Judgment.
Stop me.
No judgment.
No, that's brilliant. No, that's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, because I mean so that's incredible. 300, and I mean even I was saying to Pete, the 140 log. I mean 140 is not for you guys, but 140 is a fairly heavy deadlift, and so the fact that you could, you're cleaning that and pressing that overhead. I mean, do you? And like you say, you'd never but then again, you'd had your CrossFit background where I presume you were like cleaning and pressing and jerking kind of standard barbells and things. You must be strong with a barbell with the technique to do that, are you?
Yeah, I mean, my favorite CrossFit WOD was Grace, which is the 50 kilo barbell clean and press.
And is that just as many reps as you can, or is that
it's like 30, maybe 30, 50, something. It's quite high.
Yeah.
It's in the teeth. Yeah. 50 kilo barbell clean and press, and that was my favorite one. And that was one that I would always beat everybody in the gym, even though we trained with a lot of squaddies as well.
Yeah.
A lot of squaddies used to come into the gym, and I would end up training with them because I needed somebody to
push you,
to be against, just to push me. Which is why I love training. I'm literally the only girl in the gym half the time when I do events, because I like to be challenged. I like to be pushed, and they love it as well. They don't like being beaten by me, which then encourages them to go a little bit more too. But you're definitely anything that involves cleaning and pressing, deadlifting. I think so the only thing that we never really did was like pick up things in a hug type, like stones and bags, that sort of stuff. It was never really a thing back then. It is a little bit more now.
Yeah. But you mentioned sandbags and stones are not your friends, really.
I think I'm blaming my anatomy. I've got really small arms. You know that the guys that are really good at stones are really tall and they just have a long wingspan.
Yeah.
I do not. I do not have that. I do struggle with anything. I think I've got like a 140. I think that's my maximum. Anything over 100 kilos, it just becomes welded to the floor. I just can't do it. And sandbags, I've got a little bit more of a tactic now, because there's sandbags a lot more involved in the sport. But like take for instance at the Arnold this year, we had an at the stone to shoulder.
Yep.
The lights you had, that was the trump. So you had a lighter stone or a heavier stone, trump, whatever you got on the light one. The smaller stone, I say the smaller one, the lighter stone was 110, 12 kilos, and it was 20 inches.
Wow.
Now, I'm really short as well, so I've got short, stumpy legs, short arms. When I stand over a 20-inch stone,
your feet are like you're almost in a sumo stance, I suppose, aren't you? Yeah.
And then I've got to get down into a position and pick it up.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't. I was practicing with maybe like a 16-inch stone. They had a 20-inch stone at the gym. It was like 200 kilos, but just the having that 20-inch just for to see. And I was just like, so thankfully I did really well at the Arnold, smashed every event. And then when I got to the last event, which was the stone to shoulder, I was like, I don't even need to do this event because one, I can't do it. And two, it would make knowing that the other girls that were coming after me, they're really good at stones. So I would have dropped a place anyway. So for me, just to save embarrassment and probably pop on another bicep.
It seems that kind of stone to shoulder and sandbag to shoulder is getting more. That never really used to be an event, or very rarely. It's getting more popular now, isn't it? The stones to shoulder, sandbag to shoulder, that kind of thing. That's cropping up a bit more in comps and things, isn't it? I see.
You do find things kind of come in a trend. At one stage, the sandbag steeplechase was a thing, which it has come back again, unfortunately for me. I think it's just having equipment that's easy to maneuver, to put back into place. It's not dusty, it's not dirty. The sandbag toss again, that was another one that was all over the place. Because in theory, you're the athlete, has to put everything back anyway. It doesn't take too much for helpers to put things away. And also circus dumbbell, single arm dumbbell press. That's still quite a thing. Like the big giant rogue ones, not the.
Is that something that's, because you say you're very strong overhead? Is the dumbbell overhead? Is that a good event for you as well? Do you like that?
I do love it. However, there were two competitions that I just fluffed them up. Like I couldn't. I knew I had the weight. I've done it before. But when you go from like a rebel strength style dumbbell, the loadable ones, to the rogue style dumbbells, they're very different. So the center of balance is so much different on your shoulder, and I just couldn't do it. I knew I could do the weight because I'd done it on another dumbbell, but the shape and the size or whatever the rogue dumbbells, I just couldn't get it. So I had to go back and train as if I'd never done dumbbell before for the rogue for the Arnold this year. And the first event was a dumbbell press, and I was petrified that I was messing it up, and I got it. It literally just popped in the air. And I was like, yes. I was like, I've got to go. There's like two more implements that I had to lift as well. So I was so happy that just to get that. But it takes sometimes, after being in the sport for over 10 years, I still have to learn. I still have to go back and learn things. So
it's interesting, isn't it? Because just changing the shape of something, like I know at that Ipswich one, they use those hex dumbbells. And I'm fine with the like I say, the rebel strength, the thick ones, but those little hex ones are so much smaller and weird. So just changing the shape of an implement sometimes, or the way it sits on your shoulder can really mess things up. But like you say, if you're you always know, I suppose, at least what the events are in advance, and the equipment that's going to be used and stuff. So within reason, you can kind of train around that. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, brilliant. Thank you so much for joining us, Andrew. And I really appreciate you. It's funny because you've done the lawn earlier, so you haven't got to do that later. So hopefully you can have a bit of
I've got to tidy it up now. I've just left the grass everywhere. I've got to go and tidy up the mess.
Oh dear, thank you so much. And like you say, you're going to be at the Royal Albert Hall for the Strongman Classic on Saturday, which we'll both be there. And there's some big names there, isn't there? Like Rain O'Nell's going to be there, and Mitch Rupert. So
Yeah.
it should be really interesting this year. And Paddy Haynes as well, coming off of we had Paddy on the podcast, coming off of a really good showing at the Worlds and things. So yeah, it's going to be. That's always a
I'm
good.
so bad with the men. I don't really follow the men. I'm really terrible when people ask me about them, and I'm just like, you have to give me a visual of what they look like to be able to remember what they are.
Yeah,
So I'm really happy
Paddy
for
looks like a
Reno,
massive.
actually.
Paddy looks like a massive Freddie Mercury.
Yes, he does.
Paddy's got
Yeah.
a moustache. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, that'll be really good. So hopefully, yeah, we may bump into you on Saturday night there. That's always a great show. I think it's the third, maybe the fourth year we've been. I've seen Pete. They just sent out an email today saying they've released the tickets for 2026 as well.
Sean will get
Okay.
that. I
It
don't
always
know.
sells out though, doesn't it?
It's yeah,
It
because
always sell out there.
I don't know the capacity of the Royal Albert Hall, but it's not like a massive one. It might be like 3,000 or 4,000, I think. Whereas some of the shows sort of like up north, they get like 8,000 or something. So, and it's also in London, so anyone down south, it's close. So that always sells out. But no, it's a great event. So yeah, we may see you there over the weekend. Thank you so much, Andrew. If people do want to find out more about you, follow you. I know we didn't touch on your coaching actually, sorry, but I know you do online coaching obviously now. Have you got kind of a few different people that you coach? What kind of people do you coach? Strong men, strong women, more general population? Where do you put your focus?
A bit of everything. Online. So Angelica Jardine, before she became big news,
Yeah.
I coached her to win American Strongest Woman.
Wow.
So it was only after then that she got her invite to the Arnold, and she was like, "We're going to be competing against each other. I don't think this is going to be." And I was like, "Absolutely, I understand." So I've done some big names. I'm a face-to-face coach as well. So I have a 70-year-old gentleman. I have new mums. I have just middle-aged men, middle-aged women. I have all sorts, and I do strong men as well, strong women.
Yeah.
So face-to-face coach, just Joe Public. Online coaching with Joe Public and online.
And where do you do your face-to-face coaching? In Suffolk, obviously.
So I do travel around, but I'm based at the Barn Fitness in Grunsborough. So it's spelled Grundisburg. So the Barn Fitness, that's where I'm based. But I do like gym days, and I'll do like PT sessions there as well.
Excellent. Well, I might have to sort out because we've had Lucy and Terry and Magnus at my gym in Essex before, and we've got Chloe coming in August. So we're not too far. I think you're only about an hour or so away in where you are. We might have to sort something out with you because that would be fantastic. Maybe something specific that we can work on with you, which would be great. Do you train out of that gym? I don't know what it's called, but it looks like massive arches, like massive pigsties almost.
It's the hangers. They're
not a pigsty. You know what I mean? I was trying to think. Yeah, hangers. You know what I mean? But because we've got them in Chelmsford. There's like railway arches, but these are obviously massive and long. Yeah, hangers. Sorry, not pigsties.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yes, it's called the unit, the Tower House unit in Capel St Andrew or Mary, one near Colchester.
Okay. Oh, that's not far away.
Yeah. So Capel St something near Colchester.
Yeah.
Yes, and it was just a couple of guys that got together. They saw that there was a bit of a niche in the area. They got hold of this hangar, put a few old bits of equipment in it, but it was just a space that you need. You can put anything in a space, and we'll pick it up and throw it around. So they took that on, and then slowly things have progressed. They've got a lot of stuff in handmade from Rebel Strength, and just sort of bodybuilding stuff at the side. But they've now expanded to the next door. So there's going to have one side bodybuilding and then open up the space. So we're going to have 2 20-meter runs. It's just a playground. It's the best thing that's happened to me since I started this sport because I've had to travel. I've traveled all over the country just to go and train like on one piece of equipment. So it's half an hour down the road for me now, and I go there every Saturday or Sunday. Saturday's normally quite a big, busy day with everybody. There's a really good atmosphere. Proper strongman Saturday.
I'll have to come down and have a look there because that's not far.
Yeah.
There was a guy that was that was in that was in Ipswich, that was in the same category as me, who said he trains there as well and knows you from there. A guy called Marsh Pennant, I think his name was, but he trains there and said that that's where you trained as well. I think he lives a bit further away, but he probably travels there when he wants to do some specific.
A lot of people come from Essex. I think because it's right on the edge, so a lot of people come from Essex and Hertfordshire and stuff. They're normally there for about 4 hours. I'm in and out in 2 hours. I can't be doing this. I can't train for 4 hours anymore. I'm done. I need food.
It's more of a social event, isn't it, as well?
I love that. That is a proper person who trains. I'm in and out in 2 hours. Like most people are like, what? 2 hours?
Yeah. I get what I need to do. I'll have a chat. I'll have a little giggle. But when my time comes, I need to eat now, or we've got like 2 minutes before disaster happens. So my boyfriend is very clued up on that now. He's carrying snacks around like a mum and child snack bag.
Does he do the Bob Mortimer thing and walk around with like pocket meat? It's like Andrea's little, no, she's going to get angry.
He might as well. He might as well. He's always got something on him. Yeah, he's learned very quickly. He's just like, oh shit, I need to go now. We need food. She needs food. We're going.
Excellent. So if people follow you, it's on Instagram at Andrea Thompson _strongwoman. Is that the best place for people to find you, do you think? Is that, or do you have anywhere else for people to go?
I'm not great with technology, so I am all on Instagram and TikTok now. Actually, my children have got me on TikTok, so you can get me there as well. But mostly on Instagram. I can answer DMs and stuff from there.
Excellent, brilliant. Thank you so much, and really thank you for slightly rearranging this afternoon and coming on. It's been really glad that we managed to catch up with you. That's really great. So thank you everybody for watching or listening. Please like, share, subscribe, leave a review if you're watching or listening on a platform that allows you to do so. Especially Apple Podcasts is where we're trying to get our reviews up. We will be back next week for episode 260. So that will be our 5-year anniversary episode. And we're going to be joined again by Dr. Nancy Allen, who'll be coming on to join. She had a great podcast a little while back. So Dr. Nancy Allen will be with us next week for episode 260, our 5-year anniversary. Thank you so much, Andrea. And hopefully we may bump into you on Saturday. Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah. Hope to see you then.
And best of luck, obviously, for all the comps this year. So we've got the Brits, we've got the Rogue Invitational, hopefully up in Aberdeen, and then the Extinct Games, which sounds fantastic, in Singapore, which will be a hell of an adventure over there. Thank you very much, Pete.
You're welcome.
Brilliant. We'll see you next week. Until then, bye-bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to Health Oddity with Peter Lant and James St. Pierre. To get your regular fix of hype-free health, you can subscribe and leave a review wherever you get your favourite podcasts. You can find out more on today's and other topics at healthoddity.com or find us on Facebook or Instagram by searching for Health Oddity.